Hello, everyone. Just while everyone's taking their seats, I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about the interactivity in the next session. So there's the ability for you to ask questions to Robin from Microsoft using your mobile phone. So if you get your mobile phone out and go to Slido, or just Google Slido, it will ask you for a hashtag. That hashtag is Big Data London, all one word, spelt like on the sign. And you'll be able to put your questions through to Robin. People who are watching this on the online stream and the hybrid event, hi. I didn't say hi before, I'm very sorry. For you, there's a secondary tab at the top of your screen which says the word engage on it. If you type your questions in there, they will also come through to me on the iPad at the front, and I'll ask them to Robin at the end. So I think we're about ready. And to welcome Robin on screen. We'll be doing questions for the final 15 minutes of the session. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Robin Sutara, and I'm the Chief Data Officer at Microsoft UK. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today at the Big Data London event. I'm here to share some of what we are seeing across our customers and partners when it comes to the paradox of analytics. We hear all the time what a valuable asset data is, but data alone is not an asset. It is by connecting and managing your data in a cohesive fashion to drive insight and decision is when you truly can recognize its value. Only when you enable a digital feedback loop within your organization can you use the data and the intelligence it creates to provide the foundations for a successful digital transformation. By harnessing the constant streams of data being created, tying this to your existing data sets, and then applying AI to it, you enable better decisions and transformative processes. You create new experiences, new ways of working, new outcomes. These new outcomes create new data itself, which then can help us to learn more, to help us refine things even further, and so on. This is the state that we all aim for, where we can engage our customers in new and meaningful ways, where we can transform our products and services based on the signals from end users or from the products themselves. Can we empower our employees with real-time insights they need to make the right decisions and be agile? Can we optimize our operations by better anticipating customer demands and our supply chain disruptions? And can we meet and exceed our sustainability commitments to have a better impact on the world around us? To help demonstrate this, I would love to share an example of a customer that's used their data to create big change in several of these areas. Please roll the video.
The mission of Walgreens is to be America's most loved pharmacy-led health and well-being and beauty retailer. Data is critical for everything that we do at Walgreens. And with that data, the customers are telling us what they buy and what they need. We have to forecast 200 million item store combinations and get that right for our 7 million customers every day. We work with over 5,000 suppliers that we need to coordinate the end-to-end supply chain with. That's a daunting challenge that we can only meet by using data effectively.
Azure was a third of the cost compared to setting up a new data warehouse appliance on-prem. We process billions of records. We are able to churn through this data 3 times faster than our existing data warehouse appliance solution.
The difference with the Microsoft Azure platform was something that is scalable, something that can grow with us, which was differentiated from a number of the on-prem solutions that we could have gone with. The Azure platform gave us the speed and the horsepower that we needed to pivot that data into actionable ways so we could change the assortment, so we could respond to consumers' changing buying behaviors, so that we could take action a lot faster. Small tuning, small process improvements, multiply anything by 9,000 stores, it becomes very large, and the impact that we can make on both people's lives but also financial performance of the company. And I love that ability to impact very big change.
As you can see, Walgreens Boots is on a journey to leverage data across their organization, but doing this isn't easy. Every enterprise today understands that data and analytics is the pathway to a successful digital transformation. However, true business transformation comes by innovating the processes that run your business. And this is where data realities begin to hit both IT and business leaders. On the road to transform their business with data, if we were to ask any business leader if provisioning an end-to-end analytics platform was simple, they would absolutely say no. On top of that, strategically using data requires leaders to ensure that they are being compliant in every step of the digital transformation pathway. But at the same time, they're trying to create agility and more rapid decision-making by democratizing their data and the tools for everyone to analyze data. Compliance plus agility is no small feat and often becomes the main blocker in successfully deploying analytics projects. Additionally, leaders must ask themselves, can they trust their data? Are there biases that need to be checked? Do you know where that data is coming from? Has it been prepped and transformed correctly? And often, an initial insight isn't enough. Massive amounts of data means a massive amount of potential for deeper insights. But getting to those deeper insights, more granular insight, is another reality that's difficult for businesses today. They may have a dashboard that communicates surface insights, but surface insight is often met with more questions asking for more data. Today, this need for more granular insights at a moment's notice causes entire new work streams for data teams to work upstream to find raw and more granular data to analyze, rather than being baked into the analytics strategy and platform. Now, when companies take the next steps in implementing analytics projects, which is constantly happening, they experience competing needs across their organization. Different lines of business see different value in data and analytics. Data sets that are important for multiple lines of business are difficult to consume across the analytics stack in an organized fashion and require massive manual prepping and transforming. Marketing departments want omni-channel experiences, which demand heavy data curation and processes that ensure data privacy. And more, as everything becomes connected, companies are having to figure out how to manage and analyze new classes, often of machine-generated data from devices, sensors, and CRM systems, etc. And this is what creates the paradox of analytics. The paradox is that although analytic systems are intended to be centralized, to provide that well-known single version of the truth, the more we apply new technology to integrate and analyze data in different ways, the more silos we can recreate. And as we work to dissolve those operational data silos, we actually end up creating more silos, not just of data, but silos of technology and people. When we implement a new technology to integrate a specific type of data, we are creating a more fractured approach to data integration and another silo of data that must then be integrated back into the overall platform during the analytics lifecycle. And when it comes to technology, this approach often touts that it's a centralized solution, but it is indeed siloed architectures that create siloed data teams. And with the siloed architecture, data governance becomes extremely difficult to accomplish. And finally, people. How can we enable deeper analytics collaboration between people in the organization? Every organization has domain experts in both data and analytics technology. This technical depth enables them to be the most effective in their role. However, it can easily create duplicative work and inefficiencies that specialization cannot be utilized across in a team or organizational boundaries. Today, companies need to collaborate over data with the same efficiency that they do for their productivity applications. Let's take a look at another organization that's on their way to mitigating these silos in a cohesive way to unlock the power of their data. Roll the film, please.
It's about helping families who need that bit of extra support to be able to meet the needs of their children and help children in our communities to thrive.
A key outcome for Bristol City Council is for us to be a fair, healthy and inclusive sustainable city. Social care plays a huge part in our obligations to meet that objective.
Traditionally, children's services have relied on referral. So when people see that something is happening, they let us know that that's happening for a child, and we're able to step in and support. When we do hear about a worry for a child, what we need to be able to do is to see a whole picture of the child. understand who else is involved in that family, and make a quick assessment of how serious those worries are.
Bristol City Council has been on a journey of improvement over the last 5 years.
We'd reached a point where we probably couldn't take it any further without the developments that Microsoft have given to us.
What was really important to us was to be able to take data out of the silos and bring it together, but link it in a unified way that allowed us to see single views of the child or the adult across all our disparate systems. We had a number of data silos where we had data that was only accessible by a few, and we weren't able to make decisions based on really great data. We decided to go for Azure for our cloud hosting environment. The Azure solution has been revolutionary for the Bristol City Council. The security elements on our E5 license agreement have been superb. We are able now to see what the decisions we take and what outcomes they give. So we have one account for all citizen activities against the council.
If we are notified overnight, for example, that a child's had a really, a horrible time either in a family or in the community, we're able to get that information from the police quickly, and we're able to share it with others in the network who are able to support that family. Now we've got that potential to grow and go further in our use of data, so that together we're able to deliver on our vision for the city, which is a city of hope and aspiration, and one within which no one is left behind, so everybody has the opportunity to achieve their potential.
As you can see, getting the right answers is possible when all of your data assets are connected and managed in a cohesive fashion. This is when you truly enable a data-driven organization and provide the foundation for successful digital transformations. It allows you to be agile in the needs of the business or react to the unpredictable, like a global pandemic. How do you enable quicker insights for decision-making? How do you impact your business models and overall value chains or create new ones? And how do you ensure all of this is being done in a compliant and governed way? That is the vision of Microsoft, to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. And I would add, with your data, a simplified framework that allows all of your data, all types of data, all to exist in the same platform and be governed in the same way. With Azure Synapse and Azure Purview, there's a single cloud service with a single interface for development, management, monitoring, security, and governance of your data. Performance and scale for all analytic capabilities are all managed together. Purpose-built engines optimized for different scenarios enable customers to yield more insights faster and with fewer resources and less costs. Budgets go further, deeper insights are unlocked, and customers who are a multi-engine approach to analytics can outperform their competitors by making better, more informed decisions. And through Synapse Link, with a single click, we can remove the barriers between Azure databases and Azure Synapse to get insights from live operational data stores in near real time. For business application data, Synapse Link for Dataverse enables a customer to run advanced analytics tasks on data from Dynamics 365 and Power Platform without any complex ETL or copying data back and forth from storage. Azure Purview, integrated into Azure Synapse, provides end-to-end controls for data. Policy and security is enforced on the data element itself, not on the hosting system, which means only apply a policy within that system scope. Using Microsoft Information Protection, Azure Purview provides controls over analytics data out to the edge client, such as Excel, and can also apply data sovereignty constraint over data based on location. Microsoft is here to take care of the platform, so you get to say yes to the business more often and get to point of action and insight, rather than building new for every business scenario. With the complexities of architecture taken care of in a single unified platform, your people are free to focus on real business value, analytic value. What emerges from this is analytic power and insight in every team and every practice of your business. You no longer integrate together architectural components to meet a pre-specified purpose, hoping for both flexibility and economy in the end. Instead, those needs are met from the very beginning, and what emerges is simplicity for you and your organization. A single point of management for significant services shared with the Azure platform. Performance and scale are built in. Skills and training are greatly simplified. Finally, we can stop talking about architecture and focus on business value. In closing, I would love to share with you one more success story from one of our customers on how to truly derive value from your data. Thank you so much for your time and have a great event.
Hello, my name is James Ferguson.
I'm Aaron Dander and I work for M&S.
At M&S, we do a lot of our own product development, and that brings lots of challenges, such as availability, what stock levels we have in store, what's on the road, and what's in the distribution centre. M&S has its own data centre, but some of our systems are quite old because we've been around for a long time.
The technologies and the ways they were built weren't really thinking about today's technology world. Obviously that hits a lot of challenges when you get to high volumes of data, and it's becoming impossible to work in that way. We've innovated over time to stay competitive. We're getting information to our buyers, merchandisers, store managers, and the marketing teams. We have to have a solution that gives us all our data in a single place where it's available to multiple different users in tools that suit them.
Azure Synapse is a great data warehouse platform. It allows us to load and structure our data in a way that's really performant for reporting and queries.
We push data into Azure Data Lake.
We surrounded that with ADF and Databricks to do ETL pipelines. It also gives us the ability to scale the platform up and down depending on workload.
We create labs and Synapse where they can pull together their own data sets and then point tools like Power BI at it.
Azure has enabled us to stand up data science teams and make them very efficient.
We have to make data-led decisions in order to keep being a market leader. We've got to make the most of machine learning and other data science tools. Azure is the only way that we're going to be able to do that.
Just like to say thank you to Robin. She will be appearing live on screen in a moment for your questions. For anyone who wasn't here right at the start, I mentioned the question system is a system called Slido you can access on your phone. Just Google Slido and it'll ask you for a hashtag and use the hashtag Big Data London, which is LDN. Thank you for everybody who's already sent through your questions. We have had a few. Hello, Robin. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Perfect. So we've got a few questions for you here, Robin. I want to pair a couple together because they cover the same thing, and I want to make sure everybody's had their question answered. Along the similar lines, what's your advice to people who haven't quite got started on this journey? And what are the big questions to think about when you're building out sort of data intelligence architects? So I'll put that to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think lots of the customers that I work with, I would sort of give three facets of advice. The first is think big, right? Think about the business problems that you're trying to solve for. What have you committed to your shareholders, to your business users? When you're thinking about your aggregated data strategy, how are you going to think about achieving those business outcomes? But start small, right? I think lots of organizations often become a little paralyzed when they think about the volume of data that they have coming into their infrastructure and trying to solve for all of that before you get started to deliver any value to the business often becomes a blocker. And then the third would be, iterate, learn and fail fast. So what are the things that you're learning from those, business outcomes, those projects, and then how do you evolve based on the technology and the people to be able to deliver better? So the other thing I guess that I would recommend is, don't think about just one technology being the magic bullet or the solution. There's an amazing ecosystem of technology that exists out there. And while I shared earlier, Synapse really is meant to be that single platform to bring all of those sort of partnerships and technologies to bear to help you be able to deliver that business value. I'm so sorry. I've lost. I didn't hear the question at all. I have no audio from you. From you.
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Oh, now I can. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, Robin. So I said there's actually quite a lot of questions about trust, developing trust in data. For compliance issues internally. For buy-in. What's your advice on gaining sort of trust in data?
Yeah, I think the interesting part is data is only as good as the data that's put into the system. I think even Databricks shared with us earlier, many organizations are dealing with that ecosystem of a data swamp. And so how do you really think about enabling and empowering the business to ensure that they're putting quality data into the system? How do you leverage technology to validate that? And then how do you ensure that the processes around that are really helping derive business value? I think it almost becomes a cyclic sort of process, right? You want the business to put quality data into the systems so that they can actually get the right answers and make the right decisions. As they start to be able to have that access and capability, you'll find that the organization themselves will actually drive for quality data, start to have trust in the data and the data platform to be able to then drive their decisions. And so, again, I think this goes back to the start small, find that one business group, the one business problem that you want to sort of tackle first. Once you have that sort of support within the ecosystem, you'll find that the organization themselves will almost self-monitor to ensure that they have quality data going into the system, thus building up the trust and the culture that we're looking to drive across an organization.
Perfect. And following on from that, the question asks, what do most people get wrong? What's the most common mistake when sort of implementing this this kind of thing that you find, or and maybe some tips to avoid it?
Yeah, I think people will probably be upset since I'm from a technology company, but I would say don't over focus on the technology, right? I think technology often becomes simple compared to the people and the culture. Actually getting your organization to change how they do business as usual. How do they think about data? How do they adopt new ways of working and become more data centric? That often becomes the more difficult problem to solve. And I find lots of organizations tend to focus on the technology and not actually connecting with the business to understand how they can leverage the data to be able to drive those internal sort of processes change and how people approach the data. And I think to solve for that, you often hear organizations talk about democratization of data. It's really sort of access of data. How do you make sure that you open up data to the right people within the organization? Some organizations I see, centralize and really keep a tight grasp on the data and limit the number of people in the organization that can access it. And then it becomes irrelevant if you're trying to drive a data culture. If they can't access the data, what will happen is what we saw, many years ago with people standing up Access databases or SQL databases under their desks, right, to work around the fact that they can't get the data that they need. And then how do you think about skilling? I think Microsoft has definitely made some investments lately around, low code or no code, or even Mara showed yesterday, how can you put like Power BI in the hands of the organization? How do we create more sort of not necessarily data analysts or data scientists. I know we hear organizations talk about citizenship of data science, but really making sure that business users can get access to the data that they need to. So again, I would recommend organizations think beyond technology and really think about how do you empower the business to be able to access data to make decisions.
Excellent, thank you. And interestingly, I think a question that's just come in kind of follows up from that. It's about the gap or the difference between people within a company who get data and don't get data, I suppose. In any organization, or who aren't responding to it. The question asks if you're worried about if that gap's getting bigger, but I'd also like to ask, what can you do to bring these people together? What can you make to what some good steps to convert some people who through no fault of their own don't come from a data background, but need to start listening?
Yeah, I think that the thing when it comes to data access is, or just leveraging data in their day-to-day sort of business processes is, sort of point out the unique business value that they bring to the organization. I mean, the whole point is, granting access to data across the organization, but their unique skill set is the knowledge that they have about the business and sort of the things that the business needs to accomplish and achieve. And so how do you leverage or create technology in a way that allows business users to be comfortable within the things that they're already used to? So for example, if I look at Microsoft's common data model across things like Microsoft 365, lots of business users are already familiar with things like Excel and Word and PowerPoint. And so how do you take those skills and translate it to make data accessible through those type of mechanisms? How do you think about customer data out of things like Dynamics and being able to grant easy access to that data through things like Power Platform or Power BI has been demonstrated. So I think, Microsoft's vision that I talked about, really about empowering every person and organization on the planet to achieve more, is really thinking about how do we simplify the entire Microsoft ecosystem to be able to empower organizations to think more about the people and the processes and less about the technology to be able to give access across the organization like that.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm actually going to close on this question because it's a really nice question, and it gives you the opportunity to talk a little bit about you and a little bit about Microsoft, which I think would be a nice fitting way to end. So Microsoft, huge organization, trillions of dollars, etc. Everybody knows who Microsoft is. What brings you to work every day?
Yeah, I think so. I've been with the company for 2 decades at this point, a little over. I have to admit, despite all of that time, I continue to be amazed at the innovation that Microsoft can deliver. I don't know that many people know this, but lots of the services that we provide are actually things that were developed internally to be able to sort of meet our own internal needs. So things like Purview are actually built on Microsoft's GDPR solution. Our Cosmos DB was to meet Xbox usage. And so just seeing that type of innovation at the scale at Microsoft has just been amazing. But I think despite multiple leaders and multiple sort of cycles of innovation, what really keeps me at the company is the fact that it goes beyond economics. If I think about the social difference that we're trying to make through technology and what our customers and partners have been able to do on top of that. I know we talk a lot lately about sustainability. Lots of organizations have sustainable goals that they're trying to meet, but I think it goes beyond that. I mean, Brad Smith several years ago released, a white paper around cloud for good. We have the AI for good. Organizations are actually leveraging technology to do things like, create better crop yields to feed the hungry, deliver clean water to organizations, healthcare to society that can't afford it, human trafficking, racial injustice. There's just so many amazing stories of what customers are leveraging technology to deliver. And every day I have the opportunity to meet and talk with them, and that's what keeps me coming to work every day.
Thank you, thank you, and that's
Thank you.
that's a lovely way to end it as well. And thanks very much for joining us live. It's the first time I personally has ever interviewed anyone on screen. I'm sure you couldn't tell, but no, it's all worked perfectly, and it's been lovely to have you here. So thank you very much, Robin.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful event.
Thank you.